Okay, so this is what the pot looks like after 2.5 weeks of me not being here, total neglect. Compost pile seems to have reduced and or vanished. Not really surprised, people will nick anything that isn't nailed down around here. The latest ones that I planted 3 days before I left are up in their tubs. Very happy with that, no sign of blight. My biggest concern is blight with the amount of rain we've been having. This is not great, and lots of fungus on here. And oh, it looked like we actually did have one head of collie. I'm not too concerned because I was going to rip these out. They didn't work. The potatoes, however, wow, these are Charlottes. Not a sign of blight, and these are a good 4 feet high. You know, if I compare that to that, you know, they have just exploded in height. The beds I wasn't worrying about are still exactly the same situation they were before. We've got some flowers on these ones. These ones were a mixture. These weren't all Charlottes. I did have some spare ones that I'd kept knocking around. I think there was some bit of everything, frankly. Some Sarpos, etc. I put in here. The Calabrese have come good. Quite surprised, because I appear to have a volunteer cucurbit of some description. I don't know whether that's a cucumber or what, planted in amongst my leeks. But they've come okay. The red swan are now ready for me to lift, because these were ones that I'd left for drying. So these are for next year's plantings. So these will come up today. I'll pull these today amongst the weeds. It looks like we've actually, you know, got some of the young strawberries flowering, which is quite. I wasn't expecting that at all. I've done with the year with that. My spring onions have all gone over. They've become bulbed up and become bulb onions, but that's fine. Again, I'll lift those. Starting to get some raspberries, which is fantastic. I'll take a picking of those. My favourite time of year. We won't even talk about the asparagus, but it's still doing what it does. My tomatoes are a bit wind bashed, shall we say. These will be the focus of a large amount of my time and effort tomorrow. Tomorrow's bank holiday, Monday. I'll be coming down and spending most of the day down here. So yeah, I expect that to take up quite a lot of time. Got some nice sized fruits. Again, no sign of blight, thank God. But they're only tying up and restaking. I've lost a couple of stakes, I think, in there. Which is a shame. That looks to be blight, so that one's coming out. I'll try and clip back as much as I can and preserve as much as I can, but that looks like blight to me, early blight. It's a shame. I was hoping, I really was hoping that I wouldn't have too many issues with blight, but that's definitely blight. Early stage, so we'll have a few weeks yet, but worst case scenario is I'll have to take the fruit off. If it's got any fruit on that one, I don't think it actually has any fruit. So no great loss. It's just some flowers, so I'll take that one out entirely. And see how things progress, really. Need to take up this last bed of onions. In amongst these weeds there are onions that have, there you go, they're ready for pulling, so I'll take that up. Wow, let's pull this bed and look at it. It's just completely you know, I'm going to have to spend all of tomorrow ripping that out and weeding it. Yeah, it looks like we've got full blight. I'm going to have to strip a lot of the fruit off of these infected ones and remove the infected ones. Just try and ripen them up at home. As I'd expected, marrows, you know, that's my hand. That's just ridiculous. I've got them all over the place, and I was expecting that, to be fair. Cucumbers are dying back. Oh, well, the gherkins. I'll do a big pick of gherkins as well. My Vulcan kale has run to seed as well. Celery's doing well. You know, quite bushy. Good sized hearts in there, so yeah, I'll take some of those up. Pumpkin's starting to fade a bit again. Yeah, that's definite blight in there, so I'll take all that fruit off. Yeah, we've got some good sized fruits this year. That was one of the, I think, purple Cherokee or something like that. I can't remember which one it was now, but it's done okay. Parsnips, bit of wind damage, wind burn on the foliage I think there, but they're doing fine otherwise. To be perfectly honest, they're harvestable at any point. Carrots probably doing similar, you know, they're doing quite well. We've had some damage to one of these. Look at that, that's pretty much been eaten. But we've still got this one here. That's a good sized one. Not big by any stretch of the imagination, not compared to what I'm used to, but with the lack of heat this year, I can't really blame it. Wow, that's fantastic. Looks like we have had somebody mow next door's plot, because that was pretty bad. That was a jungle and that was causing issues. I won't even go there. This is my fruit cage. That'll all need a complete clear out again once the weather dies back. Kills it all back. I still never got around to putting the top on this, but yeah, yes, there's some caterpillar and some pigeon damage, but I'll stick a net over the top of that and that'll be fine. This one apparently has thrown its net off at this end. Put you back on temporarily for now. Got some clips for you, but in amongst the weeds I've got some calabrese coming ready. I've got cabbages coming ready. All looking quite nice actually, you know. Wow, head of cauliflower. That cabbage is ready to go. So yeah, some decent crops. Wow. Right, these are my butternut squash that are in the corn bed, which is decidedly battered. Yeah, you know, we'll get some decent corn off it. In fact, I see several cobs that are ready to harvest now, but yeah, it's taken the brunt. However, looks like we've got butternuts. Whoop, falling over them. All in there. So I should have a decent butternut harvest this year. Yeah, some of these stalks are definitely on the precarious side. Should we have a quick peek and look? Wow, look at that. So yeah, definitely some corn ready to harvest here. Oof. And full on blight on this side. Look at that. Epitome of blight. So it looks like I'm going to be having a great big burn. I'm going to probably try and keep, well, you can see my slightly leaning bean arch is now completely toast. I need to get some supports in straight away for that and push that back up, because that's well, see what it's done. It was attached to the bed, it's pulled the bed away. So I need to put some braces and some supports in there to stop that going any further. Now on this side again, more blight. I'm going to keep this away from the potatoes, because the potatoes miraculously seem to have done better with the blight than the tomatoes, which were a blight resistant variety. So looks like I have a huge amount of green tomatoes, so I'm going to strip the whole lot, I think. Rip up all of the beds, take all the fruit that I've got, and just use as much as I can, put it on windowsills to colour up. Let's see what I can salvage from this season. Not great. If I'm honest, you know, it's not unexpected given the dreadful weather we've had, but still a bit of a blow. God, can't even get down that path. You know, we've got butternuts everywhere. So and we've still got 6 weeks or so before frosts are due. I mean, this ear of corn, you know, that's dried up completely. Have a look and see. Hold on. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Where are we for corn? Oh, there we go. Fantastic. So yeah, I think I'll have a big corn pick. Oh my god, look at that. That is the typical blight. Look at that. And that's largely because I haven't been here to prune these out. You know, so that's as typical as you can get. Plenty of beans on the white lady runners. These are being left for pods this year for actual beans. Same as the Borlottis. You've got some of the Borlottis that have only just got a very faint pattern, but you've got others that are much more coloured, and as the pods develop, they'll develop that colour as well. Yeah. Bearing in mind that that's the tomatoes, here's the potatoes. There's not the slightest trace of blight on these. Over here, which are the pot ones, again, these are a good 4 foot high, flowering, not the slightest trace. Now let's have a look in the polytunnel. Well, the first thing I can see is just a few cherry tomatoes there. Something's had a go at one of my melons. Okay, so the melons will be coming up, all of them. It's all going to be completely ripped out, the melons. I'll harvest as many of the tomatoes as I possibly can. I might need to harvest a few cucumbers as well, judging by the jungle. But I've got yellow monster peppers ready to go. You know, all sorts, tons of chilies. Had a lot of this kind of insect damage this year, which is not great, but you know, I've got a lot of peppers here, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, I've got peppers ready to go and all sorts. Let's get rid of that. But yeah, cucumbers all over the place. Wow. So yeah, it's going to be a day of harvest. Day of disappointments, I have to say. Having said that, I can't see any obvious blight on the inside ones, so you know, it's not too awful. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get picking before everything else gets eaten, I'm afraid. Right, I'll bring you back when I'm at home and show you what the back garden looks like. And here we are in the back garden. As you can see, my Charlotte potatoes, my Christmas potatoes, don't appear to have any blight. Flowering though. These were planted a little later than these ones. These ones have largely already flowered. They have significantly expanded in size. Go around to the ones over here. You'll see these are, again, looking really fantastic. I'm dead chuffed with that, because I was concerned 2 weeks away. That was, I mean, these are now a good 3 feet high. You know, twice as high as they were when I left. And again, flowering on these. I think as long as we don't have a too early gold spell, we should get a decent crop out of these. The starting to get some sunflower heads on these, which is great. That one's almost opening, so even some beetroot that I forgot I'd sowed down in here. Alright, I'll see you on the next one, folks. Just as a final thought, this is what I've harvested from 2.5 weeks. You know, it's been a terrible year. You know, I mean, I'm gutted about the blight on my tomatoes. I haven't got a single ripe outdoor tomato, and they're one of our mainstays. But that's the nature of the beast when you're dealing with Mother Nature. I know a lot of my friends and counterparts are really disheartened by it. All I can say to them is don't be. There's always a positive there to look for if you're willing to look for it. Some crops have done fantastically. I mean, my gherkins and cucumbers, which are here, I haven't been able to stop them. My courgettes, absolutely phenomenal. My melon, excellent year for melons. Cherry tomatoes, Jesus Christ, there must be 5 kilos of cherry tomatoes there. So there's always a positive to be found from it, you know. And although it might not be the harvest I'd hope to come back to, you know, there's a lot of food here. You know, I've got, you know, some of this will be eaten fresh, some of it will be, because this is not a small car boot. This is an XC90, so you know, it's a big old beast. Some of this will be eaten fresh, some will be preserved for eating in the next few days to a week, and some of it will be processed and prepared for longer term storage, like freezing and preserving and canning. But there's an awful lot of meals in here, even for a family of 6, you know. There's at the back, this is the first pick of the corn ears. There's probably close to that much again there, and there's got to be 70 ears there. That's an awful lot of food. You know, there's beans, you know, in the corner. They'll go down to a small amount, but you know, that came from a handful. I think it's about 30 seed. I've got a dozen jars of fresh beans. And all this, you know, it's all spare. This is all surplus to what I need. So these will be dried, and I've got a plan for those. And onions, you know, I'll be giving away onions this year. I've had so many harvest. So yeah, just don't be disheartened about what the year is throwing at you. Yes, it has been an unusual year, and yes, it has meant that a lot of the staples we rely on haven't done as well as we would have hoped. But you know, remember, it's called gardening, not harvesting. So try not to take it to heart, because next year is an entirely different year, and I can guarantee you next year some crops won't do well and others will do extremely well. It just so happens that this year we've had far more in the not done well category than the have done well category. So just remember, you know, next year is a new year. Right, and I will see you in the next one.